Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have another 3 stories for you today. You want 70, okay, 1, 2, 3. A greeting is always returned? Okay. And do your job fast, and also right. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. You want 70, okay, 1, 2, 3. So, not mine, but one done to my dear sister. My sister buys these fish to feed my Bill's pet fish. She goes into the pet store and says she would like 70 of the little guys. So, the net goes in and right into the bag. Well, my sister looks at me and goes, "That's not 70. So, the store employee looks at my sister and goes. He says, "Okay," and dumps the little guys back into the tank. Then he proceeds to initiate MC, 1 in the net and into the bag. He adds another goal to his 2 already. Another customer shows up and looks puzzled as the employee is now on a 7 count. Yup, gives my sister a look and says, "Is he for real?" Sis could do nothing but shrug and say yes. She knew this was all on her. My sister gets 70 fish. She looks at the bag and bows her head in defeat as she now realizes the first bag had more than 70. She wasted her time, the employees and those of the other customers waiting for help. On the way out, the manager saw my sister clearly disturbed and asked her what was wrong. She just told the manager she was in a hurry to get home. No complaint was made. She told us she knew she messed up but could not complain about it either. An employee of the pet store is my hero. Yes, my sister realized she messed up big time. We all laughed as she was telling the story, both at her and the awesome M. Our next story. A greeting is always returned? Okay. Not my story, but my mom's, from when she was about 7 years old, 1969. My great-grandma, my mom's grandma, was attempting to teach my mom manners and politeness. One issue she had was that mom wouldn't return greetings to people she felt were rude or mean. So, she gave mom this rule: one must always return a greeting when it is given. A few days later, great-grandma and mom are walking back from the plaza. A drunkard on the street corner calls out, "Hey, sweet mama," to great-grandma. She ignores him, but my mom doesn't. Mom, 7 years old, turns to face him and smiles, does a bit of a curtsy, and says, "Hello, good sir." Great-grandma grabs her arm and hurries her away. "Why did you do that? He's a drunkard," she hisses. Mom replies, "But grandma, you said a greeting must be returned to everyone." I think my mom won this round. And our last story. Do your job fast, and also right. Years ago, I worked as a subcontractor testing groundwater wells. Fresh out of college, I was just happy to get a job post-08 crash and was fairly naive about the work climate, workload expectations, and work-life balance. I was hired on as a field technician for a subcontracting company that tested groundwater wells for a wide range of environmental consulting firms, oil and gas companies, and state agencies. We typically ran solo, pumping wells, sampling, and shipping samples off, and the hours of work could be grueling. My project managers consistently complain about my pace of work as I try my best to follow standard operating procedures. I'm regularly running behind on OT by a few hours each week, and they make it clear that they'd prefer I work fast enough to complete each day within 8 hours because, of course, you want to get home at a reasonable hour, every day. They even go so far as to give me a time limit per groundwater well that would ideally bring me home each day before OT. Except they don't account for big city traffic control, that we set up if sampling in the street, groundwater well recharge rates varying seasonally, etc. After about 6 months of doing my best to meet their expectations, I realized that the managers either wanted me to outright lie on my paperwork, skip my own lunch, or skip steps in the outlined workflow in order to achieve their goal of bringing me home on time every day. QMC. I continued to show up and start my day at 4:30 a.m. to beat traffic in the morning, but now I didn't do anything in a rush. I carefully followed every step outlined by our SOP. I take my full 30-minute lunch break and bathroom breaks whenever I feel the need. I'd chop it up with auditors if they showed up on site. Basically, I did my job correctly and without rushing, which, unfortunately for the company's payroll, always resulted in me sitting in rush hour traffic at the end of the day after working 12 14-hour days, 5 days a week. My peak was 72 hours worked in 1 week. The company was in such desperate need of workers because of high turnover that they couldn't let me go. The project managers gave up on trying to push me to move fast. And as a single guy, I loved the cash machine I discovered. Come to find out, the company was abusive to a lot of my coworkers. I stayed for the year of experience, made good money, and quit. I moved on to bigger and better things, but I always treat any subs I work with to lunch. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.